All right, so when you're using a helper, you might have noticed that when you walk away from the helper, or your helper is taking the dog away from you, either one, that your dog is really trying to come back to you. And maybe they're trying to come back to you so strongly that it's hard for the helper to hold them. That's actually not a bad thing. That actually shows the dog's learning and the progress. So it's much better for the dog to be chomping at the bit to run back to you versus tuning you out and doing their own thing and not really caring if you even exist or not really caring where you are. So now this brings us to the next topic of the restrained recall. All right, so the restrained recall, when we call the dog to us and the helper is going to hold the dog for an extra few seconds, and when the dog is really dying and digging in to come to you, the helper lets go of the leash and the dog goes. All right, so the restrained recall. There is a lot of explanation that goes into this, and this is borrowed from other dog sport as far as building drive and motivation. I don't want to get into all that right this second, but the main thing here is that when the dog is trying to get something that they want, but they can't, but they're trying and trying and trying, it makes them want it more as long as they don't try to the point of where they mentally quit and they give up and don't care anymore. So in other words, if your helper is holding that leash real tight and your dog is trying and trying and trying to come to you after you call them, and the helper never lets go, well, eventually your dog will quit trying and then quit caring, and now their motivation to come to you declines. All right, so what we want to do is we're actually looking to let go of the leash. The helper drops the leash when the dog really, really wants to come to you. So you don't do restrained recalls until you build up some of that dog really wanting to come to you. So how the restrained recall works, the helper holds the leash, you call your dog to you, so you go distant, call your dog, and then when your dog is really wanting to come to you and the helper has been holding the leash for an extra second or two, maybe three, they let go and the dog really gets a nice sprinting start to come back to you, okay? Now, for this exercise, we're actually going to be pressuring the dog on low levels, so it's not really fair to pressure on a higher level the dog to come to you if they're being held back physically. So we're actually going to pressure at low levels. The dog knows what it means. We've already done all of this with e-collar work, so the dog knows what it means. So we're on a low level, but it's sitting there tapping them on the neck so they know to come to us, but we're going to have a little delay before the helper lets them come to you, okay? So real simple, we'll have a little delay. All right, so I'm going to hand this off. My lovely helper and wife. She's going to hold the camera.
And Clark and the dog.
Yeah, yep, she's going to do it all. Now, the first repetition of your session, your dog might not want to come to you that bad. So we might do one or two regular recalls before we actually start getting into that restrained recall, all right? So if the camera gets shaky a little bit, that's okay. Sarah's holding Gato, who's going to be pulling her. So bear with us. We just want to show you what this looks like. So she's going to hold the leash. I'm going to take the training cot and walk away. All right, hold him good. Gato, come. Good boy. Come on. Good boy. Go play.